baseball lore, but one that latched onto Juan Soto the instant he set foot on a big league diamond.
I love you all.
Already brandishing a laundry list of accolades at the ripe age of 26, Soto has bet on himself from the very beginning, and it's paid off in a big, big way. The offseason story that stood out above the rest: the New York Mets won the Soto sweepstakes, inking the multi-time All-Star to the richest contract in the history of professional sports. Having spurned the crosstown rival, Soto now shuffles his way from the Bronx to Queens, looking to fetch the Mets their first World Series crown in nearly 4 decades.
I'm looking for a lot of champagne showers.
Some players define an era, and with every swing and every stare down, this generational hitter continues to remind us that we're watching something rare. The latest chapter in the book of Soto unfolds on the premiere of Friday Night Baseball, next on Apple TV+.
We gon' bring it to the house for the home team. We've had it ready from head to feet. Swinging to the right center field. It's time to go. It's time to go right. Get ready.
For the last 10 Fridays, Apple TV has been powered by Severance. But now baseball has severed itself from the offseason. And tonight we're in Houston, Texas for the premiere episode of Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+, presented by Chevrolet. And look who's here. Juan Soto leading the New York Mets to town. Soto with a 15-year contract as he signed with the Mets in the offseason. He'll be taking on the Houston Astros along with the Mets here tonight. Alongside Dontrell Willis, I'm Wayne Randazzo. D-Train, we are back.
We are in the building. You've been saying that to me all day. Super excited for this matchup. Plenty of star power on both sides of the baseball. It's going to be fun tonight. It's going to be postseason-esque.
Well, the Mets got to the postseason last year. In fact, all the way to the National League Championship Series, and they were able to reload and even power up with what they did in the offseason.
I love this roster right now, especially the hats. Now, we're going to talk about Juan Soto in a minute, but I love that they got Clay Holmes, moved him to the starting rotation. He looks solid. Frankie Montas, once he gets healthy, he's going to be a boost. Also, AJ Mint, I love his throw from the left side. It's going to be fun to watch.
Now, Pete Alonso getting a new contract to come back home. Sean Manaea sticks around. Jesse Winker and Ryan Stanek return as well. But it's the star of the show on Broadway, and it's Juan Soto for 15 years and $765 million.
Well, Cohen got his man Weezy, and rightfully so. Chips with dip, where we're back where I'm from, and he's one of the best hitters in all of baseball. 38 of his 41 home runs is from the lower half, so he can cover the baseball line to line, but he also gets on base. He's a table setter, and he has a flair for the dramatics. The bigger the scene, the bigger the area, he's going to show up, but he has a swag about him. It doesn't matter what team he went to, they're going to feel like they can win a championship, and he went to the New York Metropolitans. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, he's already played in a couple of World Series. He's already accomplished a lot, and he's still just 26 years old.
You know what? All that experience is going to help in this locker room. He came in and hit the ground running. Everybody loves him in that locker room. Very important. He's going to be a big guy in that locker room.
And he's done some damage here in Houston, part of the Nationals team that won the 2019 World Series here in Texas. Well, the Astros have their own left-handed slugger as well. Now, Yordan Alvarez becomes an even bigger focal point in this Houston offense.
The Rocket Man hits plenty of rockets, and when he's healthy, he's one of the most feared power hitters in all of baseball. I love how he has line-to-line power. He has slug, exit velocity, and don't worry about it. He stays on that barrel, so if you miss, he's going to hurt you. When he stays healthy, they believe they can beat anybody in baseball. When they struggled out the gate, they leaned on him to come back and hit the ground running, and they're able to go to the postseason for an 8th straight time.
Now you imagine flying into space with Yordan Alvarez in orbit like we just highest OPS plus through age 27. Nothing but Hall of Famers on that list.
Frank Thomas, Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle, and Albert Pujols. You're doing something right when you're getting compared to those men. Those are some of the best we've ever seen in our game.
Well, some great players here between the Mets and the Astros, and maybe a future star budding as well. Cam Smith made the roster, drafted last year by the Cubs, traded in the offseason, and an emotional announcement that allowed Cam Smith onto the team earlier this week. For more on that, we send it down to the third member of our crew. Here's Heidi Watney.
Yeah, Wayne, the Astros are excited about the 22-year-old Cam Smith. Joe Espada said he wanted him in big league camp to be around the guys, but he had zero expectation of him actually making the team. Until he watched him. He said he was really mature in the way he went about things. He said he was unfazed by the different situations that they put him in. And he said a turning point for him was when they rode together on a 45-minute drive and he got to know who Cam was and his background. He said he was so impressed. That's when he first thought about him actually making the team. And then we've all seen that emotional video where Espada had Cam's mother come into the clubhouse and tell her son he was going with the team to Houston. The bond between mom and son, pretty obvious. Such a special moment. I get goosebumps just looking at these pictures here. Now, Smith made his major league debut in right field last night. He had no pro or college experience in the outfield outside of this spring. It shows you how much the Astros think of his bat, that they just wanted to get him in there in any way they could. In fact, Mauricio Dubon told me when he gets it all together, he's going to be a 60-homer guy. He said, mark my words. We'll see if he gets started on that tonight. We'll be back from Houston. Lineups and first pitch after this quick break.
Juan Soto and his free agency decision.
He changes the entire complexion.
And he just cleaned up. Wow. 20 years old and just bursting with power. The Washington Nationals are world champions.
Juan Soto has left the yard. Welcome to San Diego, Juan Soto.
Oh, my. He crushed that.
And she's gone.
Soto magic in Game 5.
Juan Soto to the Mets. It's real.
From the Bronx to Flushing, Queens.
It changes the balance of power in baseball.
No better place than New York.
We welcome you back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're in Houston, and so is Juan Soto as a New York Met. The Mets got their guy in the offseason, and they gave him a boatload of cash to bring him to Queens.
That's a lot of chips with Dip, rightfully so, and he looks good in the Mets uniform. Hopefully he's impactful. He had a chance last night in a big spot to be impactful going up against Josh Hader, but missed out. But I like how this lineup is constructed around him. As long as they keep the pieces around him as well as him healthy, I think they have a good chance in the NL East.
Now the Mets lineup presented by BetMGM. Remember, Lindor was put into the leadoff spot around the midway point of last year, and that's when the Mets Mets took off. Now Soto's hitting behind him, then Pete Alonso. It's a lot of star power in the top half of that order.
Well, Moneybags Cohen said, hey, I want my lineup to match the Dodgers lineup. And so you look at the top of this lineup, they're built to do a lot of damage and knock the pitcher out of the game early.
Now that pitcher is going to be tough to knock out today. Hunter Brown turned his career around with his sinker that he added last year.
Well, you saw when I brought up that sinker, he lit up. And you know he has a plus fastball with the four seam anywhere from 95 to 97 miles an hour, but that sinker opens up everything, especially to the right-handed batter.
The Astros won on opening day yesterday 3-1. It was Soto at the plate to end the game. Josh Hader struck him out as part of a 35-pitch effort from Hader. He might not be available today.
Nah, he might need some Advil or something after that type of matchup, but it was a big-time matchup, dog versus dog, and Hader won round one.
He certainly did. And we are just about ready to get going here at Daikin Park in Houston, renamed ballpark here for the Astros. Although now 25 years old, this ballpark still looks great. It has been the host of so many key events with the Astros having so much success here.
Love playing here, and as an opponent, the energy, the atmosphere, the fans feel like they're right on top of you. It's very loud in here. But as a pitcher, the ball flies, so I didn't like it too much.
Well, you hit a home run here, though.
I hit a couple of them. I get your internet up, baby.
Here's Lindor to start it off. And Friday Night Baseball, Apple TV Plus returns.
We back, man. Super excited. Honored to be in the booth with you, man. And we have a good matchup tonight.
We certainly do. And Hunter Brown starts off Lindor with strike one. Lindor had a fabulous season last year at 33 home runs. He was the MVP runner-up to Shohei, and for just a moment there in time, there was some legitimate conversation about Lindor because of how good he is as a defensive player, overtaking Shohei. Then Ohtani went off and did 50-50.
Well, before he got 50-50, I thought Lindor was a front runner because as soon as they put him in the leadoff spot, good pitch by Hunter Brown right there. You're seeing the velocity that I talked about with him. Very easy throw. Repeatable delivery, and that ball comes out with a lot of life. He went four-seam up, sinker down and away, and then went four-seam again. So we talked about the sequencing, Wayne. Very important for Hunter Brown to be successful.
Well, they love him here in Houston. Juan Soto being greeted by this Astro crowd. Soto has haunted the Astros over the years, and Hunter Brown's haunting the strike zone right now. 99 on his last two pitches. Soto tremendous in his one season with the Yankees. Hit 41 home runs, hit the pennant clincher in Cleveland, but didn't stick around. He's a Met now, and there have been some Bronx tears because of Juan Soto ditching the Yankees for the Mets.
Yeah, I avoid getting on that D train for a very long time. If I'm Juan Soto, they are salty on that other side, but Juan Soto looks good in the Mets uniform thus far.
Soto could not hold his swing. It was a check swing that struck him out in the ninth inning yesterday. He did get on base a few times in the game last night. His Mets debut. Which the power will come from Soto with 41 home runs, his only season as a New York Yankee. Hunter Brown is ahead of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that is in there. Strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts. Brown has set down Lindor and Soto to start the night.
I love that pitch down in the zone, and usually Juan Soto's able to cover that pitch, but Hunter Brown did a good job executing that down in the zone, but also the pitch before that he check swung set that up. He changed his eye level, and so he's going to do that all day long, and you're seeing the mound presence from Hunter Brown right now, being able to fill up the strike zone lane.
Lindor went down swinging, Soto looking, and now it's Pete Alonso, who by the end of this season could very well be the Mets all-time leader in home runs. It's within striking distance, 34 last year. And they're still talking about the one that he hit in Milwaukee in the last of those wild card games against Evan Williams.
You know what? The power's always been there. We've seen him do it in the home run derby, and in his mind, he felt like he had a down year last year, even though he was an all-star. Very important piece.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. If you haven't checked it out yet, my dearest friend Anthony DiComo wrote a great piece about Alonso's at bat, watching it with him pitch by pitch in that wild card series against Evan Williams of the Brewers last year.
I mean, as a fan of the game, Polar Bear had to come back, Wayne. I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him in any other uniform but a Mets uniform.
It's 1-2 strikes here on Alonzo Brown trying to strike out the side.
Woo.
And he does not on that pitch. On the 100 on the outer edge of the plate, that looked like strike 3.
I'll tell you what, Hunter Brown must like brisket too. That baseball was thrown with conviction.
Where did that miss?
Wow.
Rob Drake, the home plate umpire. Challenge system will be here soon, I think. Alonzo hits that one out towards center field. It's deep. It's Myers chasing. He's out near the wall, and he's got it! Catch by Myers!
I told you, Wayne, it's going to be rocking and rolling tonight. Felt where the wall was. Timed the jump perfectly. Baseball at its finest.
Jose Altuve, the great future Hall of Famer, one of the best Astros that there ever was. He received his 7th Silver Slugger Award before the game today, and he faces Tylor Megill to start things off. And first pitch swinging, as Altuve typically does, he fouls it off.
Yeah, Megill was outstanding the second half of the season. Once he started to attack the zone with all his stuff, he throws about 7 different types of pitches, but no matter what you're throwing, you have to cross the plate and be able to compete in the strike zone, and he's done that the second half.
Sounds like the Mets wouldn't mind if he simplified things a little bit.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get overwhelmed with pitch mix and what you want to throw to the right-handed batter versus the left-hand batter. But the bottom line is, talking to Mendoza, they just want him to go out there and compete. Don't be so fine on the edges, especially how much his stuff plays, especially the fastball velocity.
Altuve won 7 Silver Sluggers as a second baseman, tied for the most all-time with Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. Well, it might be his last as a second baseman. He seemed to lay off there. Altuve is now the left fielder for the Astros, and it's been a work in progress really that goes all the way back to January when they brought him here to Daikin Park to hit fly balls to him.
It's not easy to play left field at Daikin Park, especially how that wall is. It's right on top of you. Sometimes the ball kicks a different way off that wall. Very difficult, but he's willing to do it.
And good pitch, you're right, by Megill to strike out Altuve. So some good hitters have struck out here early on. As we show you the Astros lineup presented by BetMGM, it's Isaac Paredes that hits between Altuve and Alvarez now. Christian Walker is the cleanup hitter. There's some different faces here with Tucker gone, Bregman's gone, and the Astros are filling in the roster with guys that are new to this organization, including this man, Paredes.
Well, with this short porch to his pool side, all of his home runs have come from the pool side. I think he's a good ad. He takes a lot of pitches, a good counterbalance for a team that doesn't take a lot of pitches and likes to swing aggressively early in the count. And so a veteran presence in the lineup, you sandwich him in between Altuve and Alvarez, and I think he's going to be successful.
We have Umcam tonight as Paredes, as he usually does, trying to reach for that left field corner. He hooks one foul. How would that affect you as a pitcher, knowing this guy is really looking to do one thing up there?
Well, you have to stay down and away from his pull zone, but he's shown the ability to be able to pull pitches outer third. And so strike one, get ahead. Do not let him elongate that count, because the longer he goes, the better he is.
Also takes a lot of pitches. Last year he saw more pitches than anybody per plate appearance in the major leagues.
And that's a talent. You know, I mean, he has the ability to be able to grind a pitcher down, and it's very frustrating when you're throwing pitches right in the corner and he's taking them.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Isaac Paredes. And McGill misses there to make it 2-2. There's the sinker from McGill. He had some success with that pitch. Really was his best pitch in terms of run value last year. Well, those outside corner calls not coming so far today from Rob Drake.
I need that, Rob. Come on now, tighten up. I'm not afraid to tell an umpire that's as good as I got. We can be here all day. We don't get paid by the hour, but you're going to need that pitch if you're McGill.
3-2. And Paredes sucks one toward left center, moving over, and Tyrone Taylor in a good position to make that catch.
Designated hitter, number 44, Yordan Alvarez.
Yordan Alvarez. Of course, you can listen to all your favorite players' walk-up songs with Apple Music.
Like, where you going at, Wayne? Company man.
I already popped Severance early. Ball 1 to Alvarez.
Just got my new iPad and my new phone. We flying high, Wheezy. Flying high.
We're in the rocket ship with Alvarez. Big cut there on a fastball up on his hands. 98 from Tyler McGill. McGill says this year he really wants to stay in the rotation. He has had a lot of opportunities for various reasons, injuries and whatever, trades that have put McGill in the rotation, and he's been in and out, but he wants to stick. Round ball off the bat of Alvarez here finds Vientos. And Tyler McGill sticks a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Always a smile on the face of Brandon Nimmo as he leads things off here in the top of the second. Even as he gets a little more grizzled in his career, has the big beard now, but still a smiling young man underneath there.
He's an important piece, Wayne. I feel like his athleticism, obviously the power's there, but someone in the middle of the lineup that can continue to elongate the lineup and provide some thump. Very important.
He's elongated his Mets career. He's the longest tenured player now, and he was drafted by Sandy Alderson in 2011. Back then, he was Sandy's first draft pick. That's how long now Nimmo has been in the Mets organization, almost 14 years since then, and he lines one to left field, a base hit. Leadoff man on. Mark Vientos will bat. First, we send it down to Heidi Watney.
Well, Wayne, tonight's odds brought to you by BetMGM. Fresh season, so who is going to win the World Series, guys? No surprise, the Dodgers are at the top of the list, but the Mets are right there with the 5th best odds in baseball. And the interesting thing here, the NL East has 3 teams in the top 5. It is going to be a tough battle in this division, guys.
Well, that's how it stands on March 28th. We're a long way from the end of October.
It should be a gauntlet, especially in the NL East, though. You look how the lineups are constructed, the rotations are constructed, the Phillies. You look at the Braves getting Spencer Strider back. It's going to be fun.
Nimmo takes off while Brown was still in the stretch. It's dropped at second base, and Nimmo is safe. Rogers dropped the ball in what was an easy out.
Love that aggressive style by Nimmo, being able to get a little jump. But Hunter Brown did a good job of not balking. Spins around and fires a strike. You got to do the little things, especially when you're going up against an equally talented ball club.
Last year, Brandon Nimmo was never caught stealing yet, a career-high 15 steals. And he was successful in all 15 tries. Now he's 1 for 1 this year, although unconventionally so.
It counts in the book. A little stutter step and a stumble. Look like Dontrell Willis out there sliding.
They could, if they wanted to, the official scorer could give a caught stealing and an error. That would ruin Brandon's streak.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Covering all my bases here. You know?
That's why you pro. That's why you make the big bucks.
They did, actually.
Yeah.
It's a caught stealing E4.
Yeah. Got to make that play.
So Nimmo is at second base, and he has been caught stealing in a way. The Mets could appeal. That could be a whole rigmarole from here, but for now, that's how it's scored. Caught stealing E4.
I like this kid right here, Vientos, man. Every time he came up in the postseason, it reminded me of Miguel Cabrera as far as just the youthfulness, but he was very calm and dangerous.
You saw Miguel Cabrera in the playoffs at 20 years old. Vientos a little bit older. He's 25 now. But he had a breakout year last year, no question. 27 home runs and 837 OPS. And then he kept it right up, maybe even beyond that in the playoffs. He was incredible against the Phillies, where he had 5 home runs total in the playoffs. And now he lines a base hit to score the first run tonight. Brandon Nimmo heads home. Mark Vientos heads for second base, and it's an RBI double to make it 1-0 New York.
Well, I tell you, Wayne, behind in the count, ahead in the count does not matter. His plate coverage and pitch recognition is elite, and I think when you have success like that in the postseason, it definitely carries over. The sinker, Hunter Brown's trying to go down and in. That ball rises up. Vientos pulls the hands through. He got a little outback stake him right when he squared that baseball up.
Carlos Mendoza spoke about Vientos before the game today, about how good he was in the postseason at adjusting and blocking out the noise. He says it gets so loud in the playoffs and the atmosphere is so different that for a young hitter it could really speed up the game on you, but he said it just did not happen to Vientos.
Not at all. And his presence, you would have thought he'd have been a 10-year big leaguer.
Jesse Winker lines one up the middle. That's a base hit. Vientos is being waved home. Myers comes up with it but has no play. 2-0 Mets on an RBI single by Jesse Winker.
And all of this started, and I'm going to talk about this all year long, about the little things. You've got to be able to catch that ball and catch Nimmo at second, because if you don't make that play, all of a sudden this is a snowball. And you looking at how these lineups are constructed of these two teams, that can happen off of one play.
Nimmo run is unearned, and you're right. It was a play at second base where that out should have been recorded. There was nothing wrong with that throw from Hunter Brown. Rogers just took his eye off the ball, looked like, to see where Nimmo was on his way to second base. So the Mets have struck first here, 2 runs, 3 hits, plus the error in this inning. And now Tyrone Taylor getting the start in center field as he looks at strike 1. The Mets will have a decision to make day in and day out about when to play Taylor and when to play Jose Siri.
I thought that was an elite pickup with Jose Siri. Has some occasional power, but he's an elite defender.
Apple TV's favorite player, Jose Siri.
Hey Siri.
Don't do that. You get everybody's phone here. Taylor's a good player. He's a nice piece of the puzzle, as he was in Milwaukee, and certainly David Stearns, who now runs baseball operations for the Mets, familiar with Taylor there. No balls and 2 strikes. As Brown tried to get him to go after that slider.
Well, Taylor can go get that baseball in the outfield as well, and so those are going to have to make some daily decisions on how you want to match these guys up so they can be successful. But they do have a lot of lineup depth. They can mix and match. Good pitch. Try to have that.
Those calls just not coming on the outside corner from Rob Drake so far.
Yeah, I'm friends with hitters, but I'm also pitcher biased too. And that's a well thrown slider.
Maybe a bit off the plate there on Umpcam. There's one back to the mound. Rogers catches this one and turns the double play.
Sometimes for pitchers, when you get a comebacker, your hands get a little fast, you get a little happy feet. But Brown did a good job of replacing his feet, getting himself steady, and firing a strike. That's the most important throw right there. You can't assume a double play, but you gotta let your infielders be able to receive the baseball so they have a chance of turning it.
Nicely done by the Astros that time. They get 2 for the price of 1. Here's Brett Beatty playing second base. As he fouls one off. Beatty basically won the job during spring training, and there was an opening with Jeff McNeil going on the injured list. The Mets have been impressed by the work ethic of Beatty, and Carlos Mendoza talking about how players need to trust the work that they've put in, so they're not up there thinking about mechanics all the time. This is a pop-up off the handle of Beatty's bat. And it's Paredes to end the inning. We will talk to Francisco Lindor in the bottom of the 2nd as the Mets now have a 2-0 lead. Francisco Lindor as we get to the bottom of the second here in Houston. Francisco, we know that your fashion sense knows no bounds. So what's on the glove tonight?
I got Mr. Mets, the Mets logo. I have New York. I have my number. I got bats. I got trophies. I got all kinds of stuff.
Well, it sounds like you just got everything printed out that you got in your house.
Opening day gloves, opening weekend.
Very, very cool, man. Now, listen, you took off once you got put in the leadoff position. What was the change? What was the feel like? Why do you feel like you were successful?
I don't know. I think it was just that time, you know, that time of the year. That something clicked and did some adjustments mechanically, and that was it, man. To be quite honest, I don't think nothing really changed. Ooh.
Yeah, those cleats got to move around. Those cleats got to move around. They just not orange for a reason.
85? You think I got 85? That was definitely at least 88.
You know, to the fan, that might look like a routine ground ball. Well, what's that like coming at you from Christian Walker there?
Well, I was expecting it because every time you get the mic, the ball comes to you. So.
This don't blame it on me, man. I've been in trouble behind that, but I knew you were going to take care of your boy D-Train. I appreciate that.
Never. It's not the glove. It's not you guys. If I make errors, it's myself. That's it. No one else.
Now that this squad has made it to the postseason, what do you think it needs to happen in this locker room for you guys to win a world championship?
We just got to stay together and post up every single day. And then just things should work out, you know. We have a really good team. We just got to stick together, take care of business, come out day in and day out like nothing is given. We have to earn everything we want to get.
What was your reaction to the news when the Mets signed Juan Soto?
I was happy. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the game. So to have him on our side now, we know it lengthens our lineup. It makes our team better. And I know the front office wanted him, and they put a lot of effort into it, and they got it. Yo estoy en la uno. Ooh. Hey, it is. 2 for 2, boys. 2 for 2.
Hey, let me tell you something. You win a Gold Glove. I want my name announced at that. I want my name announced.
Hey, nowadays it's getting harder and harder to win a Gold Glove.
Well, you know you probably got a hit for that Gold Glove too.
Man, hey, let's not even get into it. It's a lot of good defensive shortstops out there, so.
Absolutely, but you're one of them, brother.
I appreciate that.
2 up, 2 down. Here's another good defender, a guy who has won a Gold Glove too, and one Jeremy Pena as he takes.
Are you a 1? Viento, yo estoy en la 1. Viento. I'm a 1.
Francisco, what's been the evolution like for you in New York since you first got to the Mets to where you are now?
Man, I love this city. I love this city. This city has a lot to offer. You know, I've always tell people that New York will give you exactly what you want, and I've grown up. You know, I thought I was a man before I came here. Now I got 2 kids, 1 on the way. I'm married, and I have a lot of ups and downs, and definitely grown up. You know, I'm living the best life, the life I always wanted. I'm blessed to be doing it.
How fun was that run last year in the second half of the season? You guys were singing out there, having concerts, winning ball games. Tell me what the locker room was like when you guys had that run all the way into the postseason.
Man, the guys were unbelievable. Everybody was locked in. Everybody was pulling in the same direction. Everybody wanted it for each other, and everyone stepped up. Everyone stepped up. It was fun. It was a fun ride. You know how it is. Every time you pop champagnes, you start kissing and hugging. You start telling people I love you.
Right.
Even people you don't see in the year, you see them, you tell them you love them.
Like my man Wayne right here. He act like he didn't miss me until we got on camera. Same thing.
Catch made and right by Juan Soto. Francisco Lindor, thank you very much for your time.
Much love. Be safe.
Thank you.
Plus, presented by Chevrolet. Now, Francisco Lindor mentioned his wife is pregnant. She's actually due to give birth to their third child at any moment. He has 2 daughters. It'll be his first boy. He said his wife is resting at their home in Orlando. He's hoping she can hold off until Sunday because the team has an off day on Sunday before heading to Miami for the next series starting on Monday. But you know these babies, they don't listen, guys.
Well, you know better than us, I think. Well, mom of 2, Heidi White.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dads, they just,
I stay out of the way.
Right.
Stay out of the way. Kind of like my pitching. Stay out of the way.
Luis Torrens at the plate here to lead off in the 9th inning, or in the 3rd inning rather. He's the 9th batter for the Mets in their lineup, and he's in there with Francisco Alvarez out for the time being. Alvarez had a hamate bone injury in spring training, and it takes some time to come back from it. It's not really a linear recovery.
Right. You have to give it some time and focus on feeling comfortable with that hamate bone because it can get tricky. Alvarez is an excellent game caller. Throw the baseball back there and provide some pop constantly, so this is tough shoes to fill.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Torrens. The Mets also had Hayden Sanger make the team as the backup catcher. Been in their system a while. There's a strikeout for Hunter Brown. 3rd strikeout for Brown, 1 away in the 3rd. Well, Lindor's the batter here in the bottom of the 2nd. He was mic'd up with us, and this was 111 off the bat. Came up on him quick.
Multitasking, Wayne. Mid-sentence gets over to his right, being able to slide his feet. He's athletic. He also has range and has good sense of the baseball off that bat, and that's why shortstops tend to be the best athletes on the field.
Wanted to ask him, and we did ask him about his evolution as a New York Met. He was so highly regarded coming from Cleveland, but it's a different animal in New York, and he was already brought in as a guy who was supposed to be the face of the franchise. It took him a little while to get going, but now he really has become, and in his own words, it has become everything that he was hoping it would have been.
It's not easy to come from another organization when you're appointing an all-star to New York, to that environment and having the expectations. And if you get off to a slow start, then all of a sudden you start scoreboard watching and it gets harder and harder to get off. And so, Mr. Smiles is a guy that when he's at his best, he's having fun, he's playing loose. And to me, the bottom line is he just wasn't having as much fun as he could in a Mets uniform. So that's why when the turnaround happened, they started to really go.
I'll tell you something about Lindor's time with the Mets that blows my mind, because he's been in the top 10 in MVP as a Met 3 times. He was the runner-up last year. He has never been an all-star as a New York Met. That's preposterous.
Yeah, we're going to have to call New York about that, Manhattan. You know what I mean? Not in Queens, but yeah, it's astounding. But late in the year, and he said it, late in the year, something happens, something clicks, a base hit here, base hit there, and all of a sudden he starts to backspin balls and really provides that threat that they really need him to be.
Watch out in the Mets dugout on that line drive. Second half last year, he had a .943 OPS, but this is what he has done as a Met. As far as shortstops are, you're telling me you couldn't squeeze an all-star game in there for him somewhere?
Let me tell you something. I thought, as much as I love Shohei Ohtani and how he's out of this world, I thought for, a minute that he was going to steal that MVP from him. I really did. And I have to be careful, Wayne. I live in downtown LA. But I was like, Lindor is barreling baseballs. And now this is the flair of the dramatic, too. He was coming up with big hits for them to continue to have that run. And so, as good as Juan Soto is, if he's just as good, man, they have a real shot in the National League.
Well, he had some monster home runs for the Mets at the end of last year. He rolls this one over to Christian Walker, who was a Gold Glove winner at first base. And Lindor is retired. 2 up, 2 down here in the 3rd. Brings up Juan Soto.
I'll tell you, Wayne, I was here when he homered for the Washington Nationals, and I was in center field. He hit that ball off Justin Verlander. I was at 21 years old, not backing down in the situation. I was like, oh, my goodness, this guy's going to be something. And he has.
He was incredible in that World Series, and as you said, he was so young. He had 3 home runs in that World Series for the Nationals.
It's outside.
Guy who says that baseball isn't easy, but hitting is.
He's impressive. I mean, when it's all said and done, obviously, I mean, even if you stop right now, you still consider him one of the greats, but he's still got more damage to do. But Hunter Brown, to his credit right now, is not running from the challenge right now. He's starting to feel the strike zone, changing eye level, using the four-seamer at the top of the zone, trying to get him to try to show some power the other way. And that's what's impressive. He's going to get everybody's best pitches and best fight.
Big cut there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This was now a handful of years ago and a few teams ago for Soto, to the opposite field on the train tracks in what was Minute Maid Park. Rolls off the tongue a little easier than Dyken Park, by the way.
I mean, he hit that ball with so much authority, you thought he was right-handed.
Oh. Well, he's left-handed, and he hits this one with authority. That one is out of here. Juan Soto's first home run as a New York Met, a laser, and so many more to come in the next 15 years.
Two pitches before that, Wade. He looked at Hunter Brown, gave him that stare like, you got away with that slider down. He didn't get away with this pitch. Souvenir City.
It usually doesn't take long for Soto to hit his first home run with a new team. He did it in Washington right away. With the Yankees, it was his 3rd game. With the Mets, his 2nd. And Juan Soto ripped that one. His first home run for the team that has made him very, very wealthy.
You know, it could be 800 million. I love when they say that. It's not like 700 is not enough, but 15 years, they're looking at it like he's going to end his career at New York Met, and hopefully they have a championship or 2 or 3 behind a guy that can hit a baseball like that. Sometimes you gotta let people know what neighborhood you're from. That ball is squared up.
One ball, 2 strikes on Pete Alonso. Juan Soto, 41 home runs last year with the Yankees, which was a new career high, including the 200th of his career. That's number 202 already at the ripe old age of 26.
Pitch.
Brown rebounds with a strikeout of Alonso. Juan Soto is in the building, and he's on the board. His first home run is a New York Met. A no-doubter in Houston. 3-0. The Mets have the lead. 2006 NLCS MVP when these two teams met in that championship series. The Astros, though, lost to the Mets. And our weekly series trivia question asks, how many MLB playoff series MVP winners have been from the losing team? Does not happen very often, but it's happened. And Mike Scott, one of those examples from the 1986 Mets, the last Mets team to win the World Series. And it wasn't easy to get by the Astros into that World Series. It wasn't any easier against the Red Sox either, but they did it. No Mets team has done it since. This is Cam Smith leading off the bottom of the third. What a story for Cam Smith to make his major league debut yesterday after being drafted last year by a different organization, no less. The Cubs drafted him. He was part of the Kyle Tucker trade in the offseason. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Smith got his first big league hit and his first viral moment this week.
Absolutely. You just love moments like that, seeing him emotional with his mother and his family coming into the locker room and him getting his first hit and kind of getting that off his back and giving a little fist pump. They're high on this kid. He's athletic and he's going to show power, play coverage. Only 32 games in the minor leagues, Wayne, and now you're in the big leagues. So feeling the shoes of a guy named Kyle Tucker, who was a mainstay for a very long time. So it's a lot.
Smith in right field, although he was a third baseman for the most part in college. Never played the outfield much. Well, they got 2 guys out there in left field and right field learning their way around.
That's why you see Myers flying all over the place right now, because these guys are going to have to make adjustments. And the concern that for me is, if they struggle defensively, are they going to take that within their at-bats? And so whether you're a veteran or a young guy, you don't want to see that because they're 2 important pieces in the corner positions.
Well, Myers is a tremendous center fielder, so he can handle some extra pull out there. And Cam Smith getting his feet wet at the major league level with just 32 games of minor league experience last year. A full count here to work with against Tyler McGill. It's 3-2. And that's in there. Strike 3 on the outer edge. It's the first time we've really seen that pitch called a strike tonight.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to widen that zone just a bit, because especially the right-handed pitchers to the right-handed batters, you've got to be able to execute that pitch and well received at the top of the strike zone. Plus, you're a rookie, young man. You're not going to get those calls. You got to earn it.
This is Brendan Rodgers taking ball 1. Rodgers won a job in spring training. There's a non-roster invite coming over from the Rockies. His offensive numbers weren't bad in Colorado. He used to be a big prospect. He was a first-round pick.
Damn.
2 balls, no strikes. Mauricio Dubon will get some time at second base as well. And Dubon is just really a Swiss Army knife. He can play everywhere.
Right. And you trust him defensively. So it's all about offensively who's hot at the moment. And so very difficult to platoon. So both those guys got to be ready every single day.
All right.
One is in there, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Rodgers. Tyler McGill is yet to allow a base runner. Rodgers was drafted between Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker back in that draft 10 years ago. It's a soft line drive to Beatty here. It's 2 up, 2 down. Now 8 straight retired by McGill. Statcast powered by Google Cloud on the big right-hander.
Well, you know what? We already talked about the high velocity four-seamer. He throws a cutter, a slider. Sometimes he will throw that sinker when he's feeling good about it. The splitter and the sweeper, especially going into the left-handed batter, very important. But the changeup, well, he throws everything. But the one thing that Mendoza said in the meetings is, I don't care what you throw. You just got to compete within the strike zone because your stuff plays. And so the Mets have won the last 6 games he started in, and so they're starting to get belief and build confidence with him. And so you're seeing right now the mound presence from this man, and he's very important, especially with the injuries they have in the rotation early on.
He had a 2.32 ERA in that stretch at the end of the season last year, and he wants to be a mainstay in this Mets rotation. He's been in the organization for quite a while now. 29 years old. He was drafted by the Mets in 2018. See what he did toward the end of the season last year. And he said he worked with his brother a lot, Trevor McGill, who's now the closer in Milwaukee, on refining his curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jake Myers. Myers had 2 hits in the opener yesterday.
McGill is not a petit filet. He's a big boy. Walked past me, made me feel small. I said, man, you know what I mean? So he's a guy that you feel like he can be durable out there as long as he's able to just throw strikes.
He throws one by Myers here to end the inning. 9 up, 9 down for Tyler McGill. He has 3 strikeouts in the first 3 innings.
It is time for a stage manager interview here with Joe Espada. So much talk about Cam Smith, and rightfully so, but how about Jake Myers with that catch in center field?
Unbelievable. I've seen him make that play so many times. He's so good out there.
What are you seeing from Hunter Brown tonight?
You know what? Stuff looks really good. His pitches are working very well. He just got, when he gets ahead, he's got to be able to put those guys away.
Thanks, Joe.
You got it.
Joe Espada, the manager of the Houston Astros. He and Carlos Mendoza go way back as well. And they kind of have similar managerial styles, but they both have a really firm grip on their organizations.
I love talking to them both. They're very passionate, very well detailed, but they also want to allow their locker rooms to be able to police themselves. You know what I mean? And so, a player's manager on both sides.
This is Brandon Nimmo leading things off in the 4th inning. It was his stolen base attempt in the 2nd inning that kick-started a Mets rally as he had a base hit and then tried to steal second while Hunter Brown was still in the stretch. Brown did everything right, but his throw to second base was dropped, and Nimmo was in safely. Then he scored on a double by Mark Vientos, who in turn scored on a base hit by Jesse Winker. The other run for the Mets came on Juan Soto's first home run in orange and blue.
Good pitch.
Just under the zone to Nimmo. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brandon has a good eye. He walks a lot.
Good pitch, better take.
Punches that one foul.
He's another guy, though, if you're Nimmo, that can grind a pitcher down. You saw him take that changeup just below the zone and rarely chases out with his athletic ability and speed. Really good ball player.
It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Nimmo could not hold up there on a pitch in the dirt. Hunter Brown has his 5th strikeout. Follow the MLB season with the Apple Sports app. Get real-time scores and play-by-play straight to your iPhone lock screen. Fast and simple. Download the Apple Sports app for free on the App Store today. Hunter Brown, he might be the ace of the future in Houston. Framber Valdez, who was terrific on opening day yesterday, is a free agent after this year. So potential for Brown to take the reins soon, but I'm sure they'd like to have both of those guys for the long term. Fromber has just been outstanding.
Fromber ain't going nowhere. They're going to find some type of money. Nah, there's just certain guys because they're the mainstays and the catalysts, and to have 4 opening day starts, I mean, that's rare in any organization. Very important to have him, and it's all about matchups and how you want to build your rotations.
This is Rogers able to backhand that one and throw out Mark Vientos. Valdez was outstanding yesterday. Mentioned the 4 opening day starts. Well, he's allowed 3 earned runs in 23 innings in those games.
You talk about this soft contact, and I like to say whooper duper, where he's got one of the best whooper dupers, and that's breaking ball in all of baseball. And once he gets ahead, he spins that baseball. Nobody can square him up.
That whooper duper is very famous now. It's in every high executive suite. They love the whooper duper. Jesse Winker takes a strike, and it's 1-1.
See, I knew you missed me, Wayne. I knew you missed me. I know you do. I know you do.
Life's not the same without the D train.
Oh, man, I'll give you a check later. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Here's a good one for the category of it's where you hit them, because Pete Alonso hit one 415 feet, but flying out against the wall earlier on that catch by Myers. Soto's home run was 25 feet shorter, 390, but Soto's on the board, and Alonso is yet to be. Well, Pete will get there too.
There's 26 home runs shy from tying the great Darryl Strawberry franchise record for home runs. I mean, that speaks volumes, and so that's the type of impact, and I feel like he's the right muscle protection of Juan Soto.
No, it's down.
It's been a long-standing record. Alonso ultimately could be a free agent again after this year, and it's who knows what the future holds for Pete as far as where he will be long-term for the rest of his career. But with Soto locked up for 15 years and Lindor locked up for a while, you figure one of those two or both might even break Alonso's record once he gets there. Jesse Winker takes ball 4. That's the first walk issued by Brown.
Great at bat by Winker, but no, Pete Alonso's just that presence and that threat, that one guy in that lineup that can win a game for you with one swing, and it's very important to keep him in there. And they seem to love him in the locker room. You always need that bouncer muscle to protect all the superstars, and he's a superstar in his own right. And so I think he's handled everything in New York very well. And so just can't see him in any other uniform but being a Met.
Winker is on base for the second time. He had an RBI single earlier. Taylor hit into a double play his first time. He's the batter here. And a little dribbler back to the mound ends the inning.
interview here with Carlos Mendoza. Juan Soto, his first home run as a Met. How does he impact your stars on this team?
Yeah, a lot, you know, and that was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. You know, when he's got the ability to turn a pitch and it's 96 above the strike zone, up and in, that's pretty incredible. And he adds up, you know, he makes our lineup a lot deeper. We got some really good players and really good hitters. And just to have a player his caliber, he makes us a lot deeper, like I said.
Tyler McGill's been fantastic tonight. What's working so well for him?
Yeah, I think it starts with him attacking, you know, throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters, and then staying on the attack. I like how he's using all of his pitches. I like how he used a curveball to get ahead for Myers there, and he's got to do that. He's got to attack and stay on the attack.
All right, thanks, Carlos.
Joe Espada was the bench coach for the Astros for a while, and he had a lot of rapport with the players that were here, and he was able to get promoted and be the manager after Dusty Baker left. As Altuve looks at a strike. Carlos Mendoza, you know, last year not only his first year as a major league manager, but his first year in the Mets organization, and he somehow just fit like a glove to be able to lead this group.
Well, you know, his personality, we go into his office and he's so warming and so inviting and very honest about how he feels about his players and the direction that they want to go. And so you can't do anything but to respect a guy like that. And so whether they're struggling, I mean, we saw them in 2 different times a year where they were struggling at first, and he still had a positivity about this ball club. And then, you know, but he was even keel when they were flying high. And so I think as a leader, that's very important.
Altuve hits it sharply, and Lindor can't reach it. That's the Astros' first hit tonight. And of course, it comes from a man who has had so many hits in that uniform, Jose Altuve.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. I mean, he's been doing this for a very long time. Heck, I pitched against Jose Altuve. That's how long he's been doing it. I've been out of the game for a decade and some change. So he's talented, and for a smaller guy, his plate coverage is the best in baseball. It doesn't matter where that ball is, he can barrel it.
2,234 career hits now for Altuve. That's his second in the last 2 games. Here's Isaac Paredes taking ball 1. A few years there where Altuve won the batting title in the American League, won the MVP in 2017, and he is still churning out the hits. Hit 295 last year, at 185 more hits. Not slowing down too much, although a new position to learn this year playing in left field.
Just hope he gets comfortable over there very quickly, and it's a tough outfield. You know, you go to some of these other ballparks, how does he adjust to that? Being able to get the ball out of the glove because he's using a bigger glove. There's all these variables, and so good for him to be a team leader to say, hey, whatever it is I need to do to help us in a better position for somebody else to play second base, I'm willing to do it and still be productive offensively.
You see the incredible numbers for Altuve as far as franchise records go. He's basically just behind the Biggios and Bagwells and Berkmans of the world at this point. And this is his 15th season with the Astros. That's hit hard. That's a fair ball down the left field line for Paredes. Altuve makes his way to third base. Paredes will hold it first. And the Astros trying to get it going. Here in the 4th, they have back-to-back hits.
Well, Paredes doing what he does best. That's pull the ball to the left side. He's able to get that sinker and beat him to the spot. That's his good big league hitting right there. Timing, got his foot down early enough to be able to catch up to the velocity right over the bag. Vientos has no chance of getting that baseball.
The 3-run lead. The last guy you want to see representing the tying run is this guy, Yordan Alvarez, at the plate for the Astros. And McGill jumps in with a strike at the bottom of the zone.
Good slider right there. Everybody's on their feet. He's assuming Yordan is hunting the velocity. He drops the slider to be able to get ahead in the count.
Lefties have a career .830 OPS against McGill. He's had a hard time with left-handers. Gets a swing and a miss from Alvarez as that pitch dove out of sight.
Yeah, one of the rare change-ups at 90 miles an hour. Well thrown. Alvarez looking at it halfway through there, assuming that was a sinker, but it was a change-up that never got to the hitting zone.
Alvarez grounded out to the left side his first time tonight. It's a high fly ball. This one not carrying. It will score the run, though. It's Taylor to make the catch, tagging from third. Altuve comes home. And Yordan Alvarez has his first RBI of 2025. The Astros are on the board. It's 3-1.
Well, it looked like he just got out in front of that. He was hunting that changeup. Felt like McGill was going to double up on that, but elongated the swing just enough to get that to the outfield. But when his timing is right, he showed the power to left center to be able to hit that ball to the train tracks.
Now Christian Walker is the batter, grounded to short his first time. This was maybe one of the better under-the-radar signings of the offseason for the Astros to bring in a multiple-time Gold Glove winner, a guy with a lot of power. He has World Series experience. Today's his birthday, by the way. He's 34. A 3-year deal for Christian Walker to come and solve the first base riddle, which last year seemed unsolvable for Houston.
Yeah, they struggled. They tried to platoon guys at first base, didn't get a lot of productivity out of that position. Now you go get Christian Walker. Not only is he going to have a presence, he's going to wear out that Crawford box, and he's a Gold Glove defender.
Two balls and a strike on Walker. 26 homers last year. Spent some time on the IL. A couple of years before that, he was playing every single day and hitting more than 30 home runs for the Diamondbacks. You see the defensive numbers really stand out as well, as Walker has earned those Gold Gloves. Swing and a miss on that pitch from McGill. Fastball had some run to it. Yainer Diaz bats next. The Astros have gotten on the board in this 4th inning. Walker didn't have a lot of spring training at bats, had an oblique problem. The Astros felt comfortable with the work that he's been doing to be able to start the season on time. He waves and misses for strike 3 as McGill punches him out with that slider.
Well, McGill did a good job of setting that slider up with the fastball that beat Walker before, and then all of a sudden Walker's trying to get his foot down a little bit early, trying to charge and catch up to that velocity, and the slider just drops right out of the zone.
It's a good pitch by Tyler McGill to get his 4th strikeout tonight. 2 outs in the inning, and here's Diaz, who lined to the shortstop Lindor his first time, while Francisco was busy talking to us.
Appreciate it.
Diaz tried to interrupt our flow a little.
I'm just glad he caught the ball, because I don't want that New York fan base all over me.
They've been on you enough over
They have, though. They have. I like it, though. I like it. I like the smoke.
You really do.
I do, huh? Something's wrong with me. That's okay. The world needs more hugs. Back to the game.
Oh, no balls, 2 strikes on Yainer Diaz. Diaz has certainly shown his ability with the bat. He is a very good offensive catcher. His defense and game calling and preparation continues to evolve as well, working a lot with the Astros brass and Victor Caratini, who's a capable backup.
Well, he has all the ability to be an everyday catcher, and so, you know, it's not just about swinging the bat, it's about calling games and doing whatever you can to help.
Well, the game call's been good for Tyler McGill. Back-to-back strikeouts. He did allow a run in the 4th. It's now 3-1 New York. We've seen Juan Soto's first home run as a Met tonight on Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're in Houston at Daikin Park. As Hunter Brown has allowed 3 runs in 4 innings, one of those runs unearned. Tyler McGill retired the first 9 in a row for New York and gave up a run on 2 hits in the bottom of the 4th inning as the Astros pulled within 2. Strike 2 to Brett Beatty leading things off. Beatty getting the nod at second base. Seeing Luis Angel Acuna, he'll get some opportunities there while McNeil is out as well for the Mets. Beatty came up as a third baseman, so playing a different position. He's gotten a little bit of work there in the minor leagues.
I mean, but the bottom line for Beatty, they just want him to play with some fluidity and have some joy to the game. They know he's a hard worker, but sometimes you can be methodical out there, and it gets in the way of you just going out there and producing. And so he earned the right to have a starting job this season, and they want to see him just go out there mentally and just have fun and let the games come to him.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Beatty. And it's held onto by Diaz for strike 3.
You know, the next part of Hunter Brown's game is being able to slow it down even when something wrong happens. And so ever since that home run, you know, he's like, that's okay. The game's still, you know, reachable for my ball club. Instead of putting up, you know, in the first part of that season last year, it would be 6-run, 7-run inning. So now it's important for him to be able to keep the game in striking distance and giving his offense a chance to win the ball game.
Well, Brown was really good in the beginning of the 2023 season, and then he struggled as the season went along. Last year was the opposite as he introduced that sinker. He had a 2.51 ERA after May 1st last year. The only guys who were lower than that from May until the end of the season were Paul Skeens, Chris Sale, and Michael King.
And he had an excellent postseason start. And so when you go into the postseason and you be able to use those tools and they play in an environment like that, your confidence is just through the roof at that point.
Well, he had 9 strikeouts in that playoff game against his hometown team. He actually grew up in Detroit, and we've talked before about his admiration of Justin Verlander. He said he was a big Dontrell Willis fan growing up in Detroit as well.
Yeah, we need to work on his heroes because I was absolutely terrible over there. I said, man, I hope he wasn't watching, but no, I really appreciate that. But again, he's a big kid. He loves to compete, and pitching in his ballpark's not easy, but he has the stuff to be able to shut any offensive baseball down.
And another strikeout as he punches out Torrens. 7 strikeouts for Brown. Well, the mechanics are certainly similar, and there is a good reason for that with how Brown idolized Verlander as a young man.
I mean, that's a good guy to be able to emulate Justin Verlander and what he means to Detroit. And obviously Brown went to Wayne State, which is right into downtown Detroit, and so the world needs heroes, man, and so for him to be in this position is really huge.
Well, he went to Wayne State, but with that overlay we just saw, it looked like he went to Verlander U. Back here in Houston, where it's the bottom of the 5th inning, the Mets put some runs on the board early, a couple in the 2nd, one in the 3rd. Astros answered with one back in the 4th. Hunter Brown gave up Juan Soto's first home run as a Met, but he also has 7 strikeouts in this game. Tyler McGill has punched out 5, so both starters have looked good at times here tonight. And here's Pena leading off the bottom of the 5th. He flied to right field his first time. Joe Espada saying before the game today that he feels like Pena will absorb some of the leadership as he gets older and more mature in this league that Alex Bregman has left behind by heading to Boston.
Very important to have a field general, especially for this roster, this locker room. They've always had guys, whether it's George Springer in the outfield, Jose Altuve in the infield. You need that type of leadership and presence. And obviously your leader has to be able to produce, and so they trust him to be able to lead in the infield and still hit for some power and have that gold glove out there.
Pena is followed by Cam Smith, then Brendan Rodgers here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ball's hit well out toward left center field. It's Taylor after it. There's a lot of real estate out there, though, and Taylor makes the catch. One out. Well, there's some Houston royalty in the house. And standing by, here's Heidi Watt.
Yeah, royalty, absolutely. We've got Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. Now, I was going to ask, born SoCal College at Ohio State, what your allegiance is, but judging by your hat and your jersey, you're all Houston.
Yeah, I love Houston. You know, I'm an Astro fan now for sure. I still love the Dodgers too, but you know, I've accepted Houston to be my home, and they welcome me with open arms, so I'm really happy to be here, and the Astros show me so much love. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I saw your first pitch from last year. You threw a seed, a perfect strike. How much baseball did you play growing up?
I played a little bit. I played until like middle school, and it kind of got a little boring, but you know, I have a love for the game. I love the art of it. I love how hard it is. You know, I think it's really hard. You know, it's probably one of the hardest things you can do in sports is, you know, hit the ball, you know, and, you know, the pitchers do a good job of throwing things that look like fastballs and all type of stuff. So I've actually studied it a little more since I moved to Houston.
Well, I've seen your warm-up routine, too. You throw a baseball into a net. You swing a bat-like thing. You also shoot hoops and throw football. I mean, how did you incorporate all the different sports into your warm-up for a football game?
Just being an athlete as a kid, you know, playing multiple sports. And, you know, you do a lot of those movements as a kid, and you kind of forget about them. But, you know, my trainers kind of made up a system to get me warm by doing different things that I like to do is play basketball, throw a baseball. So, you know, and it actually helps a lot with, like, arm angles and, you know, the weight of a ball and whatnot. So it all has a rhythm to the rhyme.
Well, you're obviously a great athlete. I'm going to let Joe Espada know you might be ready should they need you. Thank you so much, CJ.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You too.
Not sure you're allowed to like the Dodgers and the Astros.
You saw my eyes light up. I said, man, they might take that jersey back, those Astro fans, when he's walking out of here. But no, he's a bad man on the football field. Love what he does. Love his athleticism. And ever since he's been in a Texas uniform, man, they've really catapulted, unlike your Bears.
Oh. That's right. That was called ball 4 to Cam Smith.
Good take by the youngster. He took a fastball for a called strike the bat before. This one was just as close. Well thrown by McGill, but just a couple ball lengths off. McGill wearing his hat like D-Train. We'll tilt to the side.
There's Brendan Rodgers with Smith on first. Bouncing ball. Vientos has it. Over at second, 1. Beatty to first. 2. A double play. Around the horn off the bat of Rodgers, and after the walk, McGill ends the inning quickly. We head to the 6th. We'll see Juan Soto lead things off for New York. Juan Soto hit a rocket for a home run in the 3rd inning. Somewhere I could hear John Sterling singing his little song after a Juan Soto home run. But the Soto photos are now being taken in Queens, and Juan Soto takes ball 1 to start the top of the 6th inning. The first of many indeed for Soto as a Met. Well, there's that opt-out after the 2029 season, but I feel like it won't be necessary. The Mets will make sure that he sticks around for all 15 of these years to really etch himself. Whatever Hall of Fame plaque comes his way, that it will have the Mets logo on it.
The way that this organization is trending, the ownership, the front office, and really the structure of this team. Yeah, we don't need to bother with that opt-out.
2 balls and 1 strike on Soto here, and now 3-1.
See, that's the difference between a lot of good hitters and a great hitter like Juan Soto. He took 2 changeups, 2 ball lengths below the zone. Most hitters are offering at that pitch. He's taking them like, you're going to have to beat me across the strike zone. Very difficult for a pitcher.
No. Ball 4, and that's why Juan Soto takes so many walks. He is so dangerous because he swings so heartily, pretty much only at strikes. StatCast powered by Google Cloud, the first in orange and blue for Soto.
Yeah, he just pulled his hands and beat him to the spot. Brown trying to tie him up and in, but that's why the swing is so level. He just squared the baseball up, and as soon as he barreled it, he knew it wasn't coming back.
Pete Alonso swings and misses on a fastball from Brown. Alonso, well, in a way, a down year for him. 34 homers, 88 RBI, still big numbers. That's how you can tell you're the real deal. You could hit 34 home runs, drive in 88. And people are like, I don't know if you had that good of a season.
Oh, ho hum, you know, oh, ho hum. It was quiet, you know, but he feels like he's a better hitter, someone that can hit the 260, 270, and then drive up 100 every single year. Especially now you have Juan Soto and Lindor healthy in front of you. He's going to have a lot of chances.
Saw that guy with the strawberry jersey. It was hard to be a kid in the 80s and not be in awe of Doc and Darryl on those Mets teams.
I just saw both of those men, and I'm from Oakland, California, and I still was a hero of both of them. I've seen many videos of Darryl Strawberry going off that monster scoreboard, which was a long way with that sweet swing. So to be mentioned in the same name as him is a true honor.
Both had their numbers retired recently by the Mets. This one off the glove, really through the glove of Diaz. And over to second base goes Soto. That should be a passed ball against Yainer Diaz.
Man, that really looked like it went through the glove. Feel like it might have been a little cross up because I saw Hunter Brown say my bad. Absolutely. Diaz is waiting for this ball to drop down, and it stays true with the four-seam spin. That's why he missed it.
You don't see many cross-ups anymore with PitchCom. You know, it's being shouted at in the pitcher's ear that he's supposed to throw a certain pitch, so you wouldn't expect a cross-up in that situation. Back-to-back walks, though, and the Mets trying to add to their lead here in the 6th inning. Doc and Darryl, the '86 Mets, were world champions in large part to these two, the back-to-back rookies of the year, and really synonymous with one another. That's why their numbers were retired in the same year, last year by the Mets, who will also retire David Wright's number 5 this year.
All deserving. You look at those numbers, and really it goes beyond just what they did. Their impact of just the culture of baseball, being on the Mets, and they were loved by everyone. And they definitely both had a flair of dramatics. And so when Doc Gooden first got called up, man, everybody was singing his praises as one of the top rookies in all of baseball. You want to talk about a nasty rooper duper? He had one of the best. And Wayne, have you seen that man's hands? I mean, he can palm your head. I mean, it's you know, every time I get a chance to talk baseball with him, I just love it, man. And so being an African-American black ace, man, I'm honored to be even mentioned.
Couple of walks in this inning now for Hunter Brown. That's 3 in the game. And with the hot water starting to boil, it's Stephen Okert warming up in the Houston bullpen. Nimmo's the batter, 1 for 2 as he takes ball 1. First start of the year, do you feel fatigued faster than usual?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of traffic. He's had to pitch around a lot of different scenarios. You know, it's 85 pitches, but it's been taxing pitches. You know, ever since that one drop play at second base, he's had to grind it out and continue to make pitches to keep this game close for his offense and striking distance. But he's showing me a lot of makeup. He's showing me a lot of toughness out there on the mound thus far.
It's 1 ball, 1 strike on Nimmo. Single and a run scored in the second. He was able to advance on a dropped ball at second base when it looked like he was about to be picked off. Now Brown starting to lose the strike zone here as it goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. These Mets will make you throw strikes, especially now with Soto there, but Nimmo's always had that reputation as well.
For Nimmo, you're trying to look at a ball elevated right here that you can drive. He tried to jump ship right there. Good pitch sequence right there by Brown, understanding the situation. 2-1 count. You know, Nimmo's going to hunt the fastball. He throws the changeup. Gets him out in front.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Nimmo. Vientos bats next, then Winker. Chopped to Rogers, who tags Alonso and gets the double play. Nicely done by Brendan Rodgers.
Great heads-up play by Rogers. He charged that ball, tried to get it on the hop, and Pete Alonso right there in the corner of his eye had a chance to tag and really secure that baseball. That's the next part of that play, so he can get it out of his glove and still have an angle after tagging. Getting out of that glove, huge play for Brown.
Alonso was not able to stop himself either in between. He ran right into the tag. And it starts the double play very easily after Rogers picked it. Now Vientos, as Brown tosses in a strike, and this feels like one of those moments in a game where it could be a momentum swing.
Absolutely. But he's not out of the woods just yet. Mark Vientos is a tough out.
No question. Slow bouncer foul makes it 0-2. Winker is on deck with Okert, the lefty, up in the bullpen. This could be the last batter for Hunter Brown. He's thrown 91 pitches in his first start of the year. He's only given up 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. All things considered, it hasn't been a bad night for Brown.
The one pitch from Juan Soto, you know, you want to get back, but for the most part, execution.
0-2 on Vientos. A good block by Diaz with a man on third.
A lot of trust between Brown and Diaz. You have a runner on third, but you need this ball to be down. Vientos had a good pass at a hanging breaking ball to pitch before, so you want him to bounce and try to get him to chase.
Diaz could not hold on to it, so it stays 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I don't like that breaking ball to Vientos. I think he's seeing that ball. Anything with a loop in it, he stays back very well to be able to cover the breaking ball. Slider's better down. And Vientos, you're hoping he makes another mistake up.
There's a fastball up that Vientos fouled back. Mark Vientos drove in the first run of this game when he doubled to left back in the second.
Yeah, see, they're trying to go up and in, but Vientos has very quick hands, beats him to the spot. He's athletic, and we talked about earlier, being able to make adjustments pitch by pitch.
Brown trying to work out of trouble here in the 6th. It started with back-to-back walks. Nimmo hit into a double play, and now Vientos behind in the count. Vientos, a good fastball hitter. See what Brown decides on 1-2. With a breaking ball again, and this time Vientos didn't chase it. I called it a changeup on the video board.
Changeup at 90 miles an hour, harder than my fastball.
Maybe it was that knuckle curve that we saw earlier, but he said changeup on Statcast. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Vientos hits one in the air, and that's not a good place to hit one here. Jake Meyers in position. He's got it. Hunter Brown pitches out of trouble in the 6th. Keeps the Astros close. It's still 3-1.
He's thrown, but he simplified that. You see with the sinker and the 4-seamer and the slider. That's his bread and butter for the rest of the year. You saw him throw that at the tail end of last year, and now he's built confidence with that velo anywhere from 96 to 99 miles an hour, whether it be the 4-seamer or the sinker within the zone, pitching to contact.
Tyler and McGill back to work here in the bottom of the 6th. Jake Meyers leads off, then Altuve and Paredes. 1-2 in the batting order. Meyers had a couple of hits yesterday. Meyers is such a stud defensively that, you know, whatever offense he does give you is a bonus.
Absolutely, especially in the bottom of the lineup, and your job is to be able to turn over the lineup, and if you're able to get Altuve and company 4 to 5 at bats, more often than not you're going to win that ball game. But him taking that foul ball off that dreaded shin, and that's why a lot of these offensive guys wear shin guards, man, because that is not a fun spot to hit a baseball off of.
That got him in the calf, maybe, on the back of his leg. 13 home runs last year for Meyers. Played pretty much every day in center field last season.
All right.
Or at least center or left. You still got Chas McCormick, too, on this roster, and he's going to need to find some playing time as well.
And I love what McGill just did. After a hitter fouls the ball off his leg, it's an unwritten rule for us to throw the ball back in or half, because they're not going to want to charge at it. Oh, wait, I'm just giving out secrets. I'm just giving out little house secrets here.
Balls and 2 strikes on Meyers. Check swing, but it got away. Strike 3, and now chasing after it. The long throw from Torrens is not close. Meyers catches a break, and the Astros have their leadoff man on.
Might be the break that Houston needs right now. Myers trying to hunt that fastball, misses horribly at that slider, and it kicks away, and now they got a base runner late in the ball game.
This is Jeremy Hefner, the Mets pitching coach, headed to the mound.
Ooh, that's a tough backhand right there.
It's a long bounce to be trying to backhand.
Yeah, that's a tough backhand.
So another strikeout for McGill. He has 6 tonight, but a wild pitch puts Meyers at first base. And all that does is set the table for the top of the Astros order. Altuve, then Paredes, then Alvarez. As the Mets bullpen gets active, it's Reed Garrett warming up for New York.
Third time around in the lineup now. Now that the top of the lineup's had a couple good looks off you. Jose Altuve coming off a base hit up the middle. Just trying to give McGill a breather right now. Hey, this is what we want to do. How do we want to attack these guys right now? This could be your last inning, but let's finish strong.
73 pitches for McGill. Here's Altuve, who singled and scored his last time. Houston only has 2 hits. They're only down by 2 runs. Things can change quickly here. Third time through the order as well against Tyler McGill. Check on Myers at first base. Myers had 11 steals last year to go with his 13 homers. We know how fast he is from his play in center field. McGill punches in a strike. Last year, Altuve was tied with Yainer Diaz, his teammate, for the most first pitch hits in the major leagues. Astros as a team saw the fewest pitches in all of baseball last year. It's part of why they are happy to have Paredes, who's on deck, because of how he extends at bats. Same for Christian Walker.
You have to have that balance, and some nights you can play into the pitcher's favor if they're able to execute early in the zone, and so you get quiet, quick outs, and now all of a sudden the pitcher's in the 7th, 8th inning with his pitch count intact. And so love that roster adjustment to find some balance in that for some guys that can hit for power and that are experienced.
No balls and 2 strikes on Altuve here. He struck out his first time.
Pitching against Jose Altuve a long time ago. He looks like he cannot cover that baseball on the outer half, but once the ball's in flight, it's almost like he steps to right center to be able to cover that outside plate.
It's hit hard. Lindor can't reach it. Base hit Altuve. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. Paredes is due up, and we'll see if Carlos Mendoza wants to make a move. He does. Astros have it brewing here in the 6th inning. McGill will leave with the lead. The Mets bullpen will have to do some legwork tonight.
Rangers across the state, bottom 5th. It's Jonah Heim's solo home run. That his 2nd of the night. It makes it 2-1 Rangers. Texas now leads the game 4-1 over Boston. Wayne.
All right, Heidi, thank you very much. Tyler McGill leaves after 6 strikeouts in 5+ innings, giving up 3 hits. Walked 1. He leaves with some trouble on the bases, and Reed Garrett who was very good for the Mets last year, now on the mound to protect this lead for New York.
Yeah, absolutely. Reed Garrett is one of their high leverage weapons out of the bullpen. 57 innings pitched, 83 strikeouts. So the swing and miss definitely plays in situations like this.
30 walks too, because those pitches are moving all over the place. He has a ton of movement. Sinkers and sweepers and cutters. It's all going to come from Reed Garrett here. As Isan Paredes looks at a strike, and he can run it up to 98 as well. So with all that movement comes a big arm from Garrett, who was really used as a high leverage guy for the first time in his career last season. 2 on, nobody out. Mets holding a 2-run lead for now. 1 ball, 1 strike on Paredes. The Mets bullpen might be asked to get a little bit more done this year because the rotation is in flux for New York. Sean Manaea is hurt, so is Frankie Montas. Clay Holmes was their opening day starter, a guy who's been a reliever most of his career, and a late inning reliever at that.
What are you going to get from Griffin Canning? You know what I mean? And so it's a little tricky. That's why McGill is so important in his rotation, and really for him to take the next step, because if he's able to start getting this ball into the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, it's going to be very valuable for this rotation for the Mets.
Canning will pitch tomorrow. There's a grounder foul, 2-2. They still have Kodai Senga, who was so good for them 2 years ago, but barely pitched last year.
So health is wealth, and not even for Senga, but Sean Manaea, who you've seen in the last season really take that next step and pitch well in the postseason, but you have to keep those guys on the field.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Paredes, who had a base hit his last time. Hit the ball sharply his first time, lining out to Tyrone Taylor.
If you're the Mets, the key is the rotation. The offense and the defense is going to be there. How will they play in that gauntlet of the NL East?
That's a frisbee in there for strike 3. Garrett swept that one right over the center of the plate and froze Paredes.
Saw Garrett do this a lot, and sometimes, you're right, the strike zone can get away, but this slider started behind Paredes, and he never picked that up, and that split the plate.
Hear a lot of pitchers talk about pitch shape.
Yes.
And the shape of that one is what fooled Paredes.
Check that ball, not supposed to move like that. That's how nasty that was.
So the first out of the inning, but now the tallest out would be this one. Here's Alvarez, representing the go-ahead run. Ball 1 from Garrett. How many times has this base become unglued because of a situation like this, ending up in a 3-run homer from Yordan Alvarez?
I still remember that home run he hit on Robbie Ray. My goodness.
Almost blew the top off of this place that night. The Astros really never did look back after that first game against the Mariners in the playoffs, on their way to winning the whole thing.
One of the more sweeter swings in our sport, especially when he's locked in.
2 balls, 1 strike on Alvarez. 35 home runs last year. They are just piling up now for Yordan. About the youth of Soto. He'll turn 27 later this year. Well, Alvarez is only 27. He was reaching there and he fouled it off. 2022 World Series. Alvarez with a bomb off Jose Alvarado.
And Alvarado's not an easy cover. Throwing that sinker at 100 miles an hour. He squares it up, keeps the head down to the baseball, and goes to the big part of that ballpark with ease.
One of his 12 career postseason home runs. He had 6 of them in 2023. And it's 3-2 now on Alvarez. Hit it to the top of that batter's eye. That was a brighter green then. They've darkened the color of that batter's eye. There's been a lot of complaints over the years from hitters, especially Astros hitters, about that batter's eye in center field. So it's a darker color now than it had been then.
It wasn't for me.
When you were here, they still had that hill out there. 3-2. Alvarez fouls it again.
That's what good hitters do, Wayne. They spoil good pitches. Alvarez was waiting on a fastball at 98 miles an hour, got fooled, but still athletic enough to elongate his swing and spoil that pitch and give himself another chance.
Reed Garrett inherited a tough spot here. First and second, no outs. He struck out Isaac Paredes. Now full count on Alvarez with the crowd starting to whip into this one. On 3-2, Alvarez takes ball 4 and they're loaded.
Just an excellent at bat by the veteran Yordan Alvarez. He was not going to chase out of the zone this time. Was looking fastball out over the plate from Garrett. Took that fastball inner half with ease.
There's a chance for Christian Walker to give himself a birthday present.
Absolutely, a breakout moment early in his season. Had some tough at-bats early in this ball game, but we'll see. Garrett's not an easy cover.
Good hitter in the clutch. Bases loaded, 1 out. Ball 1 to Walker. So Garrett kind of following his MO, a strikeout and a walk. And now a tighter situation with Walker at the plate, looking for his first big hit as an Astro. Problem is trying to square up Garrett.
Yeah, he tried to leave Earth right there, though. He charged at that swing right there. That was the first time I've seen him all day look comfortable. Head down. That slider's kind of cement mixing to the inner half. Walker just got a little bit out in front.
Garrett, one of the harder pitchers in all of baseball to barrel up. Gets a lot of swings and misses with his movement. 1 ball, 1 strike on Walker with the bases loaded.
Good.
And there's a good example of what Garrett can do. Spin it. Watch the hitter whiff it.
Yeah, well, that first slider was the lunch portion of it. That one was the dinner portion. And he's got a very deceptive throw to you. You're not picking up the baseball. It's almost turning his back to you.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Walker just never picked up on the spin. He never picked up on the spin. He was basically attacking the arm speed of Garrett. Once Garrett recognized that and got the feel of that slider, those last 2 pitches were thrown with conviction. They want this ball down and away, and you can see by the way that Walker's lunging out, he's thinking that this is a fastball because of the arm swing. Well thrown.
All right. Strike 1 to Yainer Diaz. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Mets trying to cling to a 2-run lead. 2 strikeouts now for Garrett, plus a walk. And fly ball off the bat of Diaz. Out to right center. Soto's there. So is Taylor, and it's Taylor to win the inning. Reed Garrett pitched out of it. The Mets hold the lead. It's still 3-1 after 6.
MLBShop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, hoodies, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBShop.com, the official source for your favorite team gear. Various Mets and Astros over the years. It's kind of like an Astros uniform retrospective, too, when you do these things. There's Mike Scott, who started his career with the Mets. So did Nolan Ryan, for that matter. Nolan Ryan was on the 1969 World Champion Mets, and then was on the 86 Astros, just like Mike Scott, who was the MVP of the 86 NLCS. How many MLB playoff series MVP winners have been on a losing team? Well, Siri tells us the answer is 4. Mike Scott was 1. Fred Lynn for the California Angels in the 1982 ALCS. Jeffrey Leonard in the 87 NLCS. And for the Yankees in the 1960 World Series, Bobby Richardson in what was one of the great Game 7 of all time, Bill Mazeroski's walk-off home run, ending the Yankees in that World Series. New pitcher Stephen Okert.
5 ERA last year, 35 innings, 37 hits. Try to limit the damage. Big time sweeping breaking ball. Difficult arm angle to pick up from Okert when he's allowed to be able to throw the ball over the plate. Sometimes the plate gets away from him.
Right back to the mound as Okert throws out Winker. One away, another new face for these Astros. A team that's been to the playoffs 8 straight years. Well, their 7 straight ALCS runs came to an end thanks to that out of nowhere Tigers team last year. And Houston, like all the good teams do, able to retool, try to get back into the playoffs this year with some new faces around. Tyrone Taylor takes a strike. Okert has been around the Giants, Miami. He was in Minnesota last year. Kind of a character too. He drove in on the Nationals bullpen card last year and he tipped the driver.
I saw that. Just keep the change.
Said it was a great ride in. He would have given him 5 stars on the app. So that's nice. Maybe Apple can make one, you know, make the bullpen card app for the Washington Nationals.
Bring me out of that. I'm thinking I'll do an interview. It's got to be the shape of an apple or something. I'll do it. I'm all in. I am all in.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Taylor. A swing and a miss as Okert has retired the first 2. That's his first strikeout. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Heidi.
Well, the Astros GM Dana Brown deserves some credit here. It's not easy to take that aging roster and retool on the fly. Let a franchise player, an all-star in Alex Bregman walk. Trade Kyle Tucker, but he brought back a dynamic new outfielder in Cam Smith and third baseman Isaac Paredes. He also shored up first base, which was a problem for the Astros last year. Houston first baseman had the 5th worst combined OPS in baseball last year. Christian Walker, a huge improvement there. In addition to his 3 Gold Gloves, his 95 homers over the last 3 seasons trails only Pete Alonso and Matt Olson among first basemen, guys.
And Heidi, thank you very much. This is Luis Angel Acuna, who is the younger brother of Ronald Acuna. And he is batting for Beatty here. He'll take over at second base as well. He was pretty splashy when he came up to the big leagues at the end of last season.
Absolutely. In 40 plate appearances, hit .308. Showed some power, 3 home runs, and so plays with some athletic ability. Not to be afraid to swing like Big Brother either, as you can see with that backspin.
Swing and a miss. Stephen Okert, a good inning. 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 7th.
by Sage as we take you through Juan Soto, one of the big moments of his postseason against Cleveland.
Yeah, taking slider after slider. He's not like, I know he's going to come across the plate with that fastball, spoiling some pitches, but he got the fastball that he wanted to right over the plate and showed emotion and knew that ball was gone right off the bat. They were rocking and rolling in that dugout for the Yanks.
Yeah, he was wonderful. Marvelous.
Juan DiBiase, the new money man.
Well, yeah, he's got almost $1 billion man at this point.
Sir.
A.J. Minter is on the mound for the Mets. Talked about new faces in Houston. Well, New York was able to sign other players too. It wasn't just all about Soto. Their offseason trying to make them a complete team to play for the National League pennant and the World Series this year. A.J. Minter a part of that. Mets fans know him well because he pitched against them a lot while with Atlanta.
Yeah, he's pitching a lot of high leverage situations for the Braves, and it doesn't matter if it's a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter. More often than not, he's come through and he plays with a lot of emotion.
Pretty good effort from Reed Garrett coming out with 2 on, nobody out in the 6th and making sure nobody scored. Tyler McGill's in line for the win. There's Acuna now at second base for New York.
And also give credit to the young man Hunter Brown. I mean, there was a couple times that the Mets had him on the ropes and he made pitches when he needed to keep the game in striking distance. So still got a good ball game on hand.
Good crowd too. 37,004 in attendance here at Daikin Park. As Pena fouls one off. 2 balls, 2 strikes facing A.J. Minter. Well, it's setting up for Edwin Diaz later on, the Mets closer. There's some talk in spring training about a velocity dip, but Carlos Mendoza doesn't think we'll see that if we see Diaz tonight.
All that matters is his mechanics are sound and he's throwing the strikes. If he's throwing the ball over the plate, the confidence comes and he's going to cut it loose. The velocity will be there.
The Mets still have some work to get it into the hands of their closer tonight. It's an Astros team that can really erupt at any time. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Pena. And Minter puts himself into a full count. Pena doesn't walk a lot. Cam Smith, the rookie, behind him, and then Brendan Rodgers. On the ground, Vientos scoops it and throws out Pena. 1 away. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org. Follow @playball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Carlos Beltran likely will be a Hall of Famer. Billy Wagner now is one after recording many of his saves as a Met and an Astro.
And Carlos Beltran used to square up. I should just throw the ball in the gap. How many times he's hit the ball? Home run, double. And he's such a nice guy. I couldn't hit him. You know what I mean? I'm going to pray for you, Willie. Please don't. Okay, just line out. He was that good in the Mets uniform.
He's now working in the Mets organization. He's in the front office with David Stearns. But it was really the postseason that he put together with the Astros that got him so much money from the Mets.
$100 million of the way he was barreling that baseball down here in Houston. I mean, times have changed now, Wayne, because now most of these big market teams have 4 or 5 guys making $100 million.
That's the truth. Cam Smith might be making that kind of money one day too. First round pick and already in the big leagues. Minter gets the outside edge there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros are so impressed with the makeup of Smith, just 22 years old. Mature beyond his years and his baseball approach and his mental skills. That's why they wanted his mom to be part of that announcement the other day, because they believe she and their family have as much to do with it as anything else.
Very important. That's all you hear about is he's a first-class teammate, someone that wants to soak everything in. They put him right next to Yordan Alvarez, and so they clearly want him to develop in one of the cornerstones.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Smith. And that's ball 4. That was more a strike than the pitch that was called a strike earlier in the at-bat. But Minter didn't get that call, and now it's a 1-out walk.
Ooh, that's a good take by the young man, you know, being able to let that fastball. But you're seeing a pattern here. When they get late in the count, they feel like he's far away enough from the plate that he doesn't see that fastball on the edge. And so this is the 3rd at bat in a row where he's either struck out or walked with a pitch in that zone.
Yeah, on the 3-2 pitch. On top of that, he's had 3 in a row go to a full count. So in terms of elongating at bat, Smith has been able to do that tonight. Although that looked like a strike, but the one earlier in the at bat didn't. So I guess it all came out in the wash. Here's Brendan Rodgers, who has hit into a double play and lined out tonight. Minter gets the call that time and just inconsistent in that part of the zone.
Yeah, and that's tricky. You know, I mean, if you're the pitcher or the hitter, you just want some consistency in the zone, because that swings the count. 2-0 is a world of difference to 1-1.
Lob to check on Smith at first. Slow roller. Lindor's only going to have 1 out to get here. It's at first. And Rodgers is retired. So 2 outs, and now Smith at second base. An important at batter here really for both teams. Jake Myers, the number 9 hitter. He's got Altuve behind him. He can keep this inning going. It starts to get hairy for the Mets.
We talked about it last time. Myers did a good job. Even though he struck out, he still was able to get to first base and turn the lineup over and give those guys a chance. They end up getting bases loaded. They couldn't cash in, but that's his job in the 9th hole, to be able to get the big boppers up once again.
Myers has struck out twice tonight. Well, the last time he reached on a wild pitch, here he could not hold his swing. Strike 1, according to Jansen Visconti, the first base umpire. Mets have led since the 2nd. They scored 2 runs then, and then Soto blasted off in the 3rd for his first Mets home run. 1 ball, 1 strike on Myers. Late on that fastball, 95 from A.J. Minter.
Well thrown fastball down at 95 miles an hour, but Myers has got to be able to put that ball in fair play. Felt like he missed the pitch he could have handled.
Minter finally healthy after a couple of injury-prone seasons. And he still has a live arm. 95 on that last fastball. There's Ryan Stanek getting loose in the New York bullpen with Altuve on deck. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. It's the 3rd time Myers has struck out, and A.J. Minter puts up a 0 in the 7th. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus is presented by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Reed Garrett did a fine job to help the Mets through the 6th inning. Now into the 8th, they still carry a 3-1 lead. Houston has gone back into their bullpen. Taylor Scott is on the mound for the Astros with Luis Torrens leading off. Swats it toward the right field corner. This is pretty deep, and that ball is off the top of the fence. It stays in play, and Torrens ends up at second base with a leadoff double.
Torrens backspinning that baseball. I think it caught everybody by surprise. At first they felt like it was going to get fouled or get down. Almost went out. Jumped on the first pitch from Scott. Elevated sinker and squared it up. Wow. Yeah, if I was his teammate, I'd yell weight room.
Right off that yellow line at the top of the fence in right field. So that's how close it was for Torrens to have a home run. Meanwhile, here's Lindor, top of the order, and ball one from Scott. Lindor, Soto, Alonso. That's as formidable of a 1-2-3 as you'll find. You know, the Dodgers have Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman, with Shohei leading off in Los Angeles. Other than that, I think you could make the case the Mets have the top 3 that is most feared. And now Lindor is going to reach first after being hit by a pitch.
Yeah, Scott just overcooking that slider. But you're absolutely right. That top 3 of that lineup has high expectations to do a lot of damage and really take the pressure off their own starting pitcher to be able to score early in ball games. And it doesn't get any easier for Scott when you have one of the most feared hitters in all of baseball at the plate.
Juan Soto at the plate. He has homered tonight, his first in a Mets uniform. And that one snapped over a strike from Taylor Scott. Soto has also walked again. He had a couple of times on base yesterday with a base on balls. Will soon set the record for the most walks in Major League history through the age of 26. He already has the record for 25. Between he and Alvarez tonight, they've each driven in a run, but Soto has put on some of the spectacle with his first home run for New York. A chance to do more damage here in the 8th inning. He hits a high fly ball. This one will not leave the yard. In comes Cam Smith to make the catch. Torrens will not tag. Smith shows off a good arm.
Yeah, he's got a little howitzer over there. But Juan Soto's going to look at that tape and say, man, I just missed another one. He was looking for that slider that he took for a called strike for the first pitch. Just got a little bit out in front of it. He's excellent at just being able to pull his hands through, especially to the inner half of the baseball, and keep the barrel fair.
All right.
Balls, 2 strikes as Scott gets ahead of Alonso quickly as Soto was back to the bench. A word for Brandon Nimmo about what he saw from Taylor Scott.
What do you see from the arm angle, the velocity? He's not going to overpower you. Just little tidbits to try to help, because Scott he's very unorthodox with the arm angle. He can be deceptive as well. So it's like, what do you feel from him? What do you see? It's like, okay, that slider's going to be barreling down on you. He doesn't have enough velocity to beat me, so look at the slider. Try to make him one-dimensional as best as you can.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Alonso. Quiet night for Pete. 0 for 2. He has walked and struck out, although he was robbed of an extra base hit by Myers in the first inning. blasted that ball to straightaway center field. It would have been a home run in most stadiums.
I thought it was off the bat, the way he stood up on him.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Leading off this inning was Torrens with a double, then Lindor hit by a pitch. Soto flied out. Alonso has a full count. Nimmo's on deck. Looks like Brian King is up in the Houston bullpen. He's a left-hander, and I imagine he would face Nimmo. Bounce toward third. Backhand. Paredes goes to second for 1. Throw to first. Not in time. The Astros almost turned off an acrobatic double play. They get 1 out thanks to Paredes going down the line with a backhand.
So much is discussed about Paredes offensively, but this is a tough play right here. And he also knew who was running, so he got the force at second and almost got Pete Alonso at first. That's slick right there, Wayne. I like that.
So with Nimmo coming up, it'll be lefty Brian King to face Nimmo in the 8th. Astros last year.
Absolutely. Only allowed 1 home run in 26 innings pitched, so a big spot right here to try to get out of this jam.
It's Brandon Nimmo at the plate with 2 outs. The Mets have not scored since Soto's home run in the 3rd inning. Left-handers only had 1 extra base hit against King last year.
Pitch.
He's ahead of Nimmo. No balls, 2 strikes. See what Nimmo has done against lefties. He's held his own fine from a batting average standpoint. More power against right-handers. He's able to foul that 0-2 pitch off. So Nimmo's still in there. No balls, 2 strikes. Mets have led since Nimmo scored the first run of the game in the 2nd. Hit hard and foul down the line.
Nimmo has lightning quick hands, so he allows the baseball to travel deep, and I think that's why he's so successful against the left-handed pitcher, because he's not just trying to pull the ball, or he's not just splitting the plate. It doesn't matter if it's a slider or a fastball. He allows himself to let that ball travel deep and hit it the other way.
Runners on 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. It's had 2 on, nobody out to start the inning. And now Timeout time is called by Nimmo.
Trying to play the mind game right now because King, the first couple pitches in Nimmo was rapid fire. He felt like he had the timing down. Now you're trying to ice the kicker, if you will.
Loop towards center. Myers backs up a bit and has it to end the inning. Mets had 2 on, nobody out. They've been unable to add to their lead, and still 3-1. Conference showdown. The Portland Timbers take on the Houston Dynamo at Providence Park. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern with MLS Countdown exclusively on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV+. The pitcher for the Mets, Ryan Stanek. He'll be their 8th inning man for the time being and try to be the bridge to Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, he's going to have to be better than he was last year. He had a 6 ERA in 17 appearances after joining with the Mets, but he's got some fireball stuff. Fastball anywhere from 96 to 100 miles an hour, nasty sweeping slider. He's an important piece right there. I agree 1,000%. He has to bridge the gap.
Top of the order for Houston, Jose Altuve takes ball 1. It's Altuve, then Paredes, then Alvarez. As the Astros bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Only a run on 3 hits for Houston. Altuve has 2 of those hits. Paredes has the other. Big cut there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Altuve lost his helmet in the process of that swing.
Yeah, he knew that fastball was coming after that backup slider. Was hunting it the whole time. Got his foot down on time. Tried to go to those Crawford boxes. We've seen that movie a lot.
Mentioned Altuve and Paredes, and all the Astros hit so far, they're combined 3 for 6. The others are hitless against Mets pitching tonight. Tyler McGill 5+ innings. Reed Garrett got all 3 outs in the 6th. AJ Minter a quick bottom of the 7th inning. Now Stanek here in the 8th. He'll have to face Alvarez, who's due up 3rd in this inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Altuve has to duck out of the way.
Yeah, you're my old teammate, but I got to win now. Let him smell one up top.
Just above the H on his helmet. That one Up and in. So 2-2. And now 3-2.
Good pitch right there, down and in. Altuve looking more out over the plate. He just spoiled it enough.
And they'll do it again. Stanek with a 3-2 pitch coming to Altuve. And he walked him. Ball 4. The leadoff man on for the Astros. Paredes will bat. First, here's Heidi.
You saw Paredes' swing. Seems like it was made for Dyken Park. Every single one of his 72 career homers has been pulled. He finished with 19 homers last season. If he played every game here last year, that number would have been 26. 7 more home runs into those Crawford boxes. Another thing he does is bring more plate discipline. As a team, the Astros saw the fewest pitches per plate appearance of any team in the majors. Paredes saw the most pitches per plate appearance of any hitter last season, and Christian Walker ranked top 12 in that category, Wayne.
We'll see how Paredes handles this at bat against Stanek, who just walked Altuve. Now the Astros with the tying run at the plate late in this game. There's a high fly to left toward the Crawford boxes. Nimmo is back as it moves toward left center, and he makes the catch. It gets so much deeper as that ball travels to left center field. Brandon Nimmo moving toward that well as Paredes flies out. 1 away.
You saw a little bit of glimpse, Wayne, at what the Astro faithfuls are going to look forward to. He said he just missed that. You could tell by the reaction of it, but because he's so good up to the pull side, I think he's going to have a lot of success being able to hit that ball to the Crawford boxes.
1 out, and here's Alvarez against his former teammate Stanek. Stanek had a ton of success when he was with the Astros 3 years ago. On their way to a World Series win, Stanek had his best year. He had a 1.15 ERA in 59 games. He was filthy in that season for Houston. Did not allow a run in his 4 appearances in the playoffs that year. Nasty pitch at 99 had some sink to it.
Here it is, challenging Jordan down in the zone. He knows that he can drop that barrel with the best of them, but that's just a well-thrown fastball.
No balls and 2 strikes on Yordan Alvarez.
Ooh, slide step 99. That's his arm strength right there. Such an important piece, Wayne, to the Mets bullpen. You know, you talked about it, how the rotation has some injuries right now in the beginning of the season. You're going to have to lean, if you're Mendoza, on your bullpen to be able to get some shutdown innings.
0-2 on Alvarez. He's able to battle and stay alive with that sinking fastball again from Ryan Stanek. The Astros have Luis Contreras and Brian Abreu up in the bullpen. Wouldn't expect to see Hader tonight after he threw 35 pitches in the opener yesterday. Abreu threw 25 pitches yesterday, but he'll be available if Houston ties it up or takes the lead here heading into the 9th inning. We're in the 8th. The Mets have a 2-run lead. And Alvarez takes ball 1. Alvarez has driven in the only run for Houston tonight. It's a ground ball. Acuna with a diving play. Looks to second and gets the out at first. Luisangel Acuna came on for Beatty as a pinch hitter earlier, staying into play defense. And he takes a base hit away from Alvarez.
That's a huge play because they felt like that was going to get through the hole. Acuna showing that range, athletic enough to be able to get a look, and Pete Alonso screaming at him, just take the out right here. There's no way we're going to be able to get that lead runner. Smart baseball.
2 outs, and now Walker the batter. He's 0 for 3, a quiet night, 2 strikeouts, and Stanek starts him off with strike 1. The Astros, again, only 3 hits. They've all been singles. They're actually the only team so far that has not had an extra base hit. They didn't have any in the game yesterday, and they haven't had one yet tonight. Liner to right coming in. Soto's there. He's got it. And the inning is over. So the Astros with a leadoff walk, but nothing after. Stanek, a scoreless eighth. Look at our StatCast breakdown powered by Google Cloud. Mark Vientos. He could spray it all over the field. 27 home runs, and he's able to have power to all fields.
Well, he's a complete hitter. You know what I mean? He understands situational hitting, and if he gets ahead in that count, you throw him a four-seam fastball. It doesn't matter where it is on the plate. He's going to hit it hard.
The pitcher for the Astros is Luis Contreras. We'll work here in the top of the 9th with Vientos leading off. Then Winker and then Taylor. Contreras got into 5 major league games last year. His first in the big leagues. Two balls, no strikes on Vientos. Here's Edwin Diaz. He is getting loose to pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be his first save opportunity of the year. If this lead stays where it is for the Mets, up 3-1. He scored twice in the 2nd inning. Vientos drove in the first run of the game with an RBI double. Then he scored as well. Soto homered in the 3rd. Houston's only been able to muster up 1 run on 3 singles tonight.
Well, the Mets pitchers up until this point has done an outstanding job, especially handling when the Astros provide traffic, making pitches when they needed to.
3 balls and 1 strike on Vientos. Off the end of the bat, a fly ball toward Myers. That's the first out here in the top of the 9th. Mets opening day rotation. Well, they've had to piecemeal it in some ways with Manaya out and Frankie Montas, so they also signed on the injured list. Griffin Canning was moved around a couple of times in the offseason after spending last year with the Angels. And Tyler McGill and David Peterson have been stalwarts, at least in terms of being able to fill in holes for the Mets over the last few years. We'll see what they get out of Senga. And Clay Holmes, he's transition into a starter, and he'll have to log a lot of innings.
Well, Clay Holmes is very intriguing. He was outstanding. I mean, this is his first opening day start yesterday. Probably had some nerves, didn't have the sinker command. Once he gets that sinker with that sweeping slider, I think he's going to be able to play. He's got to learn how to be more efficient so he can get through the lineup at least twice. And Senga's the other guy. Man, if he has that splitter going and he stays healthy, that'll be a big boost to that rotation. But if you look how that division's playing out, you're going to have to be able to throw strikes and keep that other team's offense at bay. And they got some serious offenses in that division where you're talking about the Phillies and the Braves that are experienced. So I think that's the key. How will their rotation play in the first 30 to 40 days will be the key for them.
1 ball, 2 strikes as Winker takes ball 2. And it's a good point about the Braves and Phillies, because for all the money the Mets have spent and for how far they went in the postseason last year, well, it's still going to be a dogfight with those 2 other World Series capable teams in their own division.
Well, you got to hope that Frankie Montas gets back, and hopefully he's able to give you logging some innings, and Sean Manaea has to get back and be the big giraffe that he is. He was outstanding last year for them, especially in big-time matchups. So, but those guys are going to have to hit the ground running. It's going to be a fun division.
It's 3 balls and 2 strikes on Winker with Tyrone Taylor next. And the National League East will be something to watch this year. And Washington feels like they've started building something with a lot of young players there. As Winker fouls one off, here's Heidi.
I do have an update on those 2 guys. Frankie Montas had an MRI Monday. It came back clean. That is very encouraging. His timetable for return late May at the earliest, dealing with that right lat strain. As for Sean Manaea, he has the strained oblique. He's throwing in Florida. He's expected back late April.
Montas has typically had injury concerns over the course of his career. Manaea really became a horse for the Mets last year, and with that different arm slot, he was throwing pitches that were seemingly unhittable at times last year. Strike 3 called to Winker over the inside corner. He didn't love it. Had like a chat with Rob Drake, but it looked like it did catch that inside part of the plate.
Yeah, he's looking like he's using a high-end conditioner this year, though. That hair flow. But see, that's the same side of the plate, though, Wayne. They've been having a problem with the hitters and the pitchers all day long. So there's an inconsistency of the zone on the left side.
Tyrone Taylor looks at a strike. Would you try to exploit that at all if you were pitching?
Absolutely, but the problem is it's been going both ways. There's been a lot of pitches that have been questionable that should have been on the plate, called for a strike, and vice versa. So when the pitcher and the hitter start to complain, that's when you know you have some inconsistencies in that zone.
1 ball, 1 strike on Taylor, who's 0 for 3 with a strikeout.
Sometimes, Wayne, you got to butter the umpire up. You know, you're doing a good job back there. Is that as far as you're going to go? You know, have a conversation, you know.
Taylor punches out, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Luis Contreras. So Edwin Diaz will be on to try to save this one for New York. As we head to the bottom of the 9th, the Astros will have Yair Diaz leading off, then Pena, then the rookie Cam Smith due to bat 3rd.
Texas, I put it down for that. Houston.
Welcome back. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're in Houston, where the Mets and Astros are playing the second game of their respective seasons. The first time, though, that Edwin Diaz will have a chance to lock up a save here in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's right. He's one of the best closers in all of baseball. Very important for him in this spot to get comfortable. Anytime the Mets have a lead, especially early on with all the injuries they have in their rotation, they have to lock it down, and this is the guy they need to do it.
Well, Diaz had some ups and downs last year, but he still has that nasty slider. And Carlos Mendoza expecting to see a full tank of velocity as well from Diaz tonight, as he pumps in a strike, and it was 98, just like Mendy said.
He doesn't lie. Mendy doesn't lie. The way he nodded in that room today, he said, yeah, he's going to throw 98. It's just about him commanding the zone.
One of the best closers in baseball, and Diaz with another 98-mile-an-hour fastball pumps in a strike. 20 saves last year. He was still working his way back in some ways from the injury that happened in the World Baseball Classic 2 years ago.
Oh.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Yainer Diaz.
I remember seeing that injury, and it was just like, oh no, their season's done without him. Good to see him back.
He was electrifying for them in 2022, and the Mets won over 100 games, and Diaz had 118 strikeouts in 62 innings. I mean, he was basically striking out 2 batters every time.
He was a G code. And when he's right, that fastball stays true, and the hitter has a tough time getting on top of it.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3 was the slider that ran away from Yainer Diaz.
That slider, Wayne, was a yard off the plate, and Diaz never saw it out of his hand. And Diaz is getting ready to pick up the velocity from Diaz, but he had no chance. He never saw the spin on that baseball.
Well, with 1 out, now the batter is Jeremy Pena for 3. There's a strike from Diaz on a slider. Houston has only managed 3 hits. Again, they have not had an extra base hit in either game so far in this series. All singles tonight. Diaz quickly ahead 0-2.
Walker still trying to find his feel. Jordan timing just a hair off, and they're going up against some good pitching right now.
However, Edwin Diaz looked in Port St. Lucie. He's seemingly figured himself out here to start the season. Pena fouls that one off.
Well, that peanut butter and jelly better in the show. It's better, you know what I mean? Got that Peter Pan.
No balls, 2 strikes on Pena. Cam Smith is next. Another foul as Pena stays alive. Mets have led since the 2nd inning. They scored 2 runs then. Juan Soto marched up his first Mets home run in the 3rd. He had the lead all night. With Tyler McGill and a score of relievers. Garrett, Minter, Stanek, now Diaz. As Pena fouls one off, it's still 0-2.
See, that's the thing. If you're Mendoza, in a ball game like this, you cannot select the wrong guy out of the bullpen, if that makes sense, because the game can get away from you. So far, so good. He's been outstanding, picking the right guys in the right situations.
Looping fly ball. Nimmo got a late break, but he's able to make the catch. Pena flies out. 2 up, 2 down for Edwin Diaz. Early season games are funny because they all count. All count the same. As you see Nimmo come in to make the catch here. But after an 0-5 start last year, well, the Mets like to get the first win out of the way earlier this year.
Well, really, both these ball clubs don't want to struggle out the gate.
Yeah, they both did badly last year, and they were able to both recover. They had the 2 best records in baseball from June on. And there are a good chunk of Mets fans that made the trip for the opening series down here to Houston, and they're making a lot of noise now on the 3rd base side. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cam Smith. Safe to say wherever Smith has played in college and a little bit in the minor leagues before this year, he's never seen a guy with the kind of slider fastball combo that Edwin Diaz has.
No.
2 balls and a strike on Smith.
Unless he hit against Paul Skeens in Florida State versus LSU, maybe we miss. But other than that, he's a different type of monster.
Victor Caratini is on deck. He would bat for Rogers if Smith can extend this game. Fly ball to right center field. Hit pretty well, but moving over is Juan Soto. He's got it on the night. He hit his first Mets home run. He catches the baseball to secure his first Mets win as the Mets beat the Astros in Houston tonight. Edwin Diaz a 1-2-3 ninth for a 3-1 ball game.
Again, on that bullpen was absolutely outstanding today, especially in the hostile environment. They lost the ball game yesterday. They're looking to get a victory. They pitched their tails off today in some big situations where the Astros were pushing, trying to get on the board, but they limited them. This is a singles, not a lot of damage, and they were fun to watch. A lot of high velocity, really, really good execution.
So the Mets pitching their way to a win tonight. Juan Soto did enough as he hit an absolute rocket for his first Mets home run tonight. The first win of 2025 for New York as they beat Houston 3-1. Tonight our Chevrolet Electric player of the game is Juan Soto, and he has his first big highlight in a Mets uniform.
Yeah, the 2 pitches before that he missed something, and all of a sudden he caught up to that at the top of the zone. Picturesque swing, one of the better swings in all of baseball, and as soon as he barreled it up, he knew he wasn't coming back, and he says, now we go. Big time moment, and the Mets faithful were real happy.
First one is a Met. He's standing by now with Heidi Watney.
Yeah, Juan Soto, your first home run as a Met. You seem to like hitting in this ballpark. You see the ball well here?
I think so. I don't know. It's something about this ballpark. I don't know. It just a lot of good memories that I have here. I mean, years in the past, and I feel really good at the play every time I come here. So I don't know.
One of my favorite things about you is watching you react to each pitch of every at-bat. You nod your head, you shake. Right before that home run, you were nodding your head. What was going through your mind?
I mean, I know he likes a fastball. I was following my scouting report and try to make a contact. You know, he put me on the spot where I'm 2 strikes. I'm just trying to battle, try to get the ball in play, see what happens. And he left one right, too close to my barrel, and I just hit it.
I just hit it. One of the biggest things when a guy signs, you know, the biggest free agent contract in the history of all pro sports is seeing how he's going to fit in with the team. By all accounts, you have done so seamlessly. How has that transition been so easy?
I mean, I feel like these guys in here, they make it easy for me. I think Mendoza have a big part of it. He make me feel comfortable, you know, and they have a lot of good stuff for me. They've been helping me out since they want to, you know, improve my game. So I think that's really cool to see when you get to a spot where they want to help you and make you better. So I'm really happy for that.
I asked you this before the game, but it was off camera, so I'm going to allow you to answer it now. Your biggest surprise since coming to the Mets?
It's just how many fans they have. I mean, I'm really surprised on all the fans and everybody, how they support the team all the way. I mean, we are all the way in Houston, and they're still showing up to